Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Mallory George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bobby Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, today is June the 1st. It is the first day of a new month. I mean, it seems like time is flying because, it seemed like the year just started and we're already halfway through it. This is the sixth month of 2023. I mean, I'm telling you. And as you know, this is the time of year when shows start picking up, especially for women's bodybuilding. But still, we have so few shows this year. I mean, getting kicked out of Omaha, getting kicked out of Brazil, losing the Puerto Rico Pro this year, losing Savannah Pro. I mean, it's tough. But this show here is a show that's been around for a good while. It's a show that gave the opportunity for women's bodybuilding to have a stage after it got pushed out of Olympia after 2014. And this is the Wings of Strength Rising Phoenix Women's Bodybuilding World Championship. I mean, it's a great show. Several of them have won this. It's, as you know, also, it's an Olympic qualifier, but I have a issue with it about one aspect of it. It's an invitational show. It's kind of like the All Sports Classic. And it's a show that kind of took the place of Miss International, which was one of the most popular secondary titles for female bodybuilding back in the day. So anyway, the list came out a couple of days ago, and I said, wow, but I think they said usually you have to, you want to apply for the show, you have to put it in by, I think about before around January, February, and then once they pick names who want to be at the show, then they set the list before the summer. So anyway, we have it's a pretty good amount of ladies. I think last year we had at least over 20 some women, and this was at least 20. And, notably you have the winner of the Miss International. Miss International is a pro qualifier. It used to be one of the biggest, like I said again, it was one of the biggest pro shows for women's bodybuilding, but now it's a pro qualifier. And so that winner gets to compete at the Rising Phoenix. And like I said, we have a lot of ladies who I say are usual suspects, and some women who kind of do this show. And, it's congratulations to all these who got invited. First off, out the gate, we have here is the current Rising Phoenix champion, also the current Miss Olympia champion, Andrea Shaw. I'm a big fan of Andrea Shaw. I love her. She has a great visit, great look to her. One thing about an issue about this, I said again, because this show is Olympic qualifier. As long as Miss Olympia there, I don't think no one's going to ever qualify for Olympia's show. I mean, Andrea is a tough nut to crack. She has a great physique, great presentation. She's just amazing. I mean, I'm a big fan of Andrea Shaw. Like I said, she's what we as the fans love to see in women's bodybuilding. She just has all tools. But I feel like this is a show that she should step away from. She already won 2 cars and a truck in the last 3 years. And, and this could be a show, if somebody else was competing, they probably get the Olympic qualification. But as I said again, Andrea here, it looks like that, no one's going to be Andrea. She just has to really, really be off to lose this show. Next up, we have number 2 at the Miss Olympia, and that is Angela Yo. Big fan of Angela Yo. Great presentation, great physique, great look to her. I feel like she might do pretty well in this show. I mean, how she's going to place? She's going to place she's most definitely, I feel she's going to be top 3, at the show. Because, she has a great look to her, great physique. I'm a big fan of Angela Yo. Next lady who I'm a big fan of, really, really big fan of, is the lovely Miss Mayla Ash. Mayla is beautiful, great physique. Last year, she took second to Andrea. Sorry. And, she looked pretty good. But then she kind of fell off after Olympia. I mean, she didn't place as well. There was some circumstances that happened at that show. I'm hoping she can bounce back. She's announced that she's doing Atlanta Pro this year. And that show can qualify her for the Olympia again. As you know, she's been a multiple-time Olympic competitor, especially when she's competing back in physique. And she's been competing bodybuilding since 2020 after she made a switch and won New York Pro that year. But, I'm a big fan of Mayla. Another young lady coming up is the one Miss Michaela Aycock. As you know, Michaela is a very popular competitor. She's doing pretty good. I did a video. I posted on my IG that she was going to be doing the Atlanta, but she hadn't confirmed she's going to do that show. But she's on the cover for the Atlanta show coming up this summer. Great physique, great presentation. How she's going to place now this year with Olympia, if she does qualify for Olympia with people like Margie Martin out, and I saw, as you know, Branka Djokovic, both Margie and Branka was retired. So this show, she did pretty good. She climbed up. She was number 3 at the last year's Rising Phoenix. So, we'll see how she's going to do, especially you have, number 2 from the Olympia, Andrea Yo competing. And well, here's another lady who I follow. Great lady, amazing woman, the lovely Mrs. Leah Denny. Now, Leah's been competing for a good while, and she switched over to bodybuilding some time ago. She competed in bodybuilding and physique at one point in her career. And, she did pretty good. She won New York Pro back in 2021, got her first Olympic qualification. And then after 2022, she did a couple of shows. She only did the Atlanta Pro and she did the Rising Phoenix. I remember I was talking with social media that she was taking some time off because she's a mother, she has 3 kids, and she really wants to spend more time with the kids. And I think her daughter just graduated last year from, I believe, high school, and her youngest son, he's special needs. She wants to spend more time with him. We hope to see more of Leah this year. Maybe she might do Atlanta again. There's also Chicago, or also there's like I said, so few shows of women's bodybuilding in Tampa. Any of those shows that she probably can qualify for the Olympia. And now with the point system gone, it's going to be really tough. It's going to be tough. We have a lady who I'm a big fan of, and that is the lovely Miss Rashana Boswell. It's going to be a year in July when I first got to meet her, when she came down here to North Carolina at the seminar in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And it was great to meet Rashana. She's a great lady, a great mother, a great wife. She took 16th at the last year's Olympia. She was bottom 16th. I was saying, why she's bottom 16th? I thought she'd be a little higher, but they go by by alphabetical order after 16. So because she goes by Rashana, that's why she was at the bottom instead of, maybe top 16. I mean, she went by Boswell, she'd been first, the 16th. But like I said, she's a impressive lady. I hope she does well this show. And said again, she earned a qualification for Olympia last year at Puerto Rico. Now that show's gone. And said again, it's going to be tough. But she is invited to the Masters Olympia this year. So I hope she does well. Here is Nikki Chartrand. And, Nikki I used to call one of the usual suspects for this show. She's been at the Rising Phoenix since, I think, 2018, when I believe she won the Norfolk Pro. And she's been there multiple times. Last year, she didn't compete, and what I heard that she moved back to Canada. She wasn't even ambassador last year. That was, it was funny not to see her as an ambassador last year. Nikki, I believe, moved to Canada. We're wondering if she's going to do a show. As you know, there's Toronto Pro coming up this weekend. So maybe she might do that show, and maybe she might qualify for the Olympia. But now, like I said, again, with the point system gone, it's going to be tough for some of these competitors. But we might see how she does. Here we have one lovely Miss Desanka Dawson. And this is what I remember from my interview with Tony Mercury. She is the niece of the great late Frojo, Florence Griffin Joyner. And that just blew my mind. I mean, the fact that this lady is related to one of the most top level athletes in the world. And as you know, last year she competed at Texas Pro. She had competed for a good while. Last year was her return after having competed for almost, I think, 2 or 3 years. And now she switched over to women's bodybuilding. How's she gonna do this show? I don't know. I feel like if she don't have I know conditioning might become good, but she don't have the size. I don't know. It's up to her with her. I think she maybe need a little more time to bring in the size and also conditioning. But if she comes in present, I remember my interview with Tony. I said she gave me those Margie Martin vibes. Maybe her look, her hair, her style. I kind of see that bit of Margie in her. But still some things she needs to work on. Well, here we have Chelsea Dion. If you remember a couple months back, I was part of a panel with her, Asha Hadley, David Bryant, and the Female Bodybuilder Channel. We're talking about the Vancouver Island show. Chelsea, I thought she said she was going to take a break, but they invited her. Chelsea's a very popular competitor. And, in her debut, she took 3rd at Chicago and then won Tampa. And, I think she can do as well as this show, Last Year's Rising. And I think she needs to do as good as she, people thought she was going to do at the Olympia, but still impressive competitor. I think she needed to work on a few things here and there, but, if she can come in good conditioning and good development, she might crack top 10 or top 5 at the show. It's all dependent. What Chelsea the Chelsea we're going to get is all a wait and see. But I was thought at one point she said she wanted to take a break, but my guess, being as how popular she is in the bodybuilding world, they wanted to compete at this show. Next up, we got another popular lady. That's one Miss Julia Furry. Miss Furry, is from Switzerland. And last year she did a couple of shows. She did Atlanta, and she also did Puerto Rico. She took second to Rashana Puerto Rico and did too well at Atlanta. I think one thing is she still works on a few things. You know, she was at Tampa when she made her debut back in 2021. There was a lot of big promise for her, but like I said, if she can work on fix those few things, you know, maybe she can do good. And, you know, I thought she was going to do maybe a show overseas like the Portugal Pro or maybe the Europa show or maybe the Muscle Fest, but she didn't do any more shows after that. You know, I don't know if she's going to do these shows this year. I mean, you know, Portugal's coming up. You also got the Europa Championship and the remaining Muscle Fest actually for the 2024 Olympia. But it's all depending on what we're going to get from Julia. Next up, we have Natalia Kovalova, who just won the New York Pro about a week or so ago. And she was pretty impressive. You know, Natalia is also what I call usual suspect. She's been competing at the Rise Games for a good while. She didn't compete last year, but she's competing this year. And now she's earned her qualification for her first Olympic qualification in New York. You know, there's talk that she might be able to beat Andrea. I don't know. She really makes some. She looks pretty good, but then there's some things she needs to work on, and there's some things that are a bit distracting about her physique. She has a great presentation look to her, but you know, it looks like everything. You need to come in and have everything together, especially if you're shooting for the Miss Olympia title. And you know, like I said, Andrea Shaw is a tough nut to crack. But like I said, I don't know. It's up in the air. Here is another lady who made her debut at New York, who hadn't competed as a bodybuilder for at least almost 10 years. And that is Renee Marvin. Mrs. Marvin, you know, she came back, made a return, took third at New York, did pretty good. Need to work on her condition a little bit. I'm hoping she might do another show this year and see how she looks. And you know, it's great to get an invite to the New York Pro, you know, and the opportunity to represent yourself, you know, especially longer have you been competing as a bodybuilder. So can wish special luck for this show. Also, we have here is the return of LaDon McDade. Now, we had not seen LaDon since 2021 Olympia. You know, she's also, I would consider, another usual suspect. She used to compete at the Rise Games about every other year, but last year she had competed. We had since 2021. Something about LaDon, you know, she made a qualification at the Olympia back at the Norfolk Pro. She was the last person to win that show after, you know, Linda canceled that show. One thing I always say about her conditioning has always been kind of off, you know, and I hope she's been working on her size. I know I do follow her on IG. I saw a video of her doing some heavy working out. I think she's been doing a lot of heavy lifting. Might be trying to bring a little more size. And I hope she really brings in better conditioning. Some of her shows feel like she either plays too high, especially with condition she comes in. She just looks smooth, not as, you know, peeled as you want. You know, it's just like, it's still like, that's the issue. You know, if you are not as tight and vascular, you know, it's just not going to place as well. And, you know, just again about women's bodybuilding, size is important. But I hope she does make the adjustments and maybe bring a little more size and better conditioning. Here we have is one Christina Nicole Mendoza. Now, we have not also had seen the Christina since 2021. Now, she's been working, you know, training and coaching with other competitors, but we see on social media she's been you know, making some good adjustments. One thing about Christina, her best quality always has been her quads. Sure, Margie, you know, Andrea, they have some great quads. And if she can bring in a little bit more size, bring in those muscle bellies, she can probably do good. There's talk that she might even beat Andrea. But like I said, again, Andrea Shaw is a tough nut to crack. Here we have a lady who I got to meet at Savannah, the lovely Miss Sheena Oleg. I'm a big fan of Sheena. I got an interview with her some time ago. She's a great lady. She did not as well as we hoped to see her do last year. At Chicago, she took fourth. Then she took second at Tampa, was probably her best showing. And then she was fourth at Savannah. I remember I got to see her. She felt like she was a little off, you know. I think she was a little under the weather. She wasn't as conditioning as. I think with me, I feel like, you know, with her height, her build, she might need to consider going back to physique. Maybe I'm wrong, but as you know, she's busy now. She's been working on her new podcast, doing interviews with women in the bodybuilding world. She just did an interview with Sherry Priami some time ago. I'm a big fan of Sheena. She's beautiful, great physique, great look to her, really cool lady. You know, I hope the best for her. Maybe she'll do a show. She might even qualify for another shot at Olympia. Yeah, Sherry Priami, who I interviewed some time ago. I love when I get a chance to interview someone like this. Sherry's a great lady, amazing woman, great physique. She did pretty good, winning her first bodybuilder show in Vancouver. She's an impressive woman. I mean, as you know, if you follow on social media a while back, her daughter just officially become a nun. And congratulations to her. I remember you talked about how she wanted her daughter to maybe enjoy life, maybe settle down and have children. But you know what? She respects her decision. Sherry's an impressive lady. She's very popular. She did pretty good at Vancouver. Some said that maybe there was a lot of talk and hype about her winning that show, but she earned it. She put in the time to work in. I think she's a great person. But I hope her wish the best luck at the show. Like I said, it's gonna be a tough show to beat somebody like especially Andrea Shaw. Next up, we have a lady I'm a big fan of, Miss Virginia Sanchez. Big fan of Virginia. She is also what I call a usual suspect. She's been competing at the Rise of Phoenix for quite some time. As you know, she's been an Olympia qualifier the past couple of times. I know 1 year she couldn't make it because, that was a time when the pandemic hit. Remember, she earned her qualification back in 2019, but she couldn't make it because the fact was the issues with her traveling from Spain. And then also remember she's saying that she has a son and she didn't want to leave him back there, especially at the time of the virus. But, she's always been a top contender. I think she took seventh at last year's show. Great physique. I mean, especially a woman in her early 50s. She still had it. I'm a big fan of Virginia Sanchez. I hope she does better at this show. I hope she does get to do another show and maybe earn her qualification for the Olympia. We have here is Melissa Tyke. Melissa, she competed at the Arizona Pro the last couple of years. She won it, which earned her first qualification in 2021, and then she took second in 2022. I remember hearing some people say she was kind of a little bit not too happy that she lost to Antoinette Downing that year in 2022, but she earned her first qualification. She earned her qualification at Texas, and she looks very impressive. As you know, I kept saying that she needed to move up because where her physique is going. She doesn't fit in physique anymore. Her body's changed. And I know I follow on social media. She does a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of powerlifting stuff. And a lot of ladies who do powerlifting, you're going to add more muscle. And, she doesn't, she has more things towards bodybuilding than she just has physique. So, and she's going to make her debut in bodybuilding in Chicago this summer. So let's see how she does this show. She might do pretty well. But as I said again, this show is not, it is Olympic qualification, but as long as Andrea at the show, I figure as they're going to get the qualification at the Rise of Phoenix. Next up, the lady who I've become great friends with, a lovely lady, the amazing Mrs. Tina S. Williams. Tina's a great lady. As you know, she first competed at Rise of Phoenix when she became the 2017. Was it 2017 or 2016? I think it was 2017. Miss International champion, which qualified for her pro card. She competed in Chicago, also competed at the Rising Phoenix. A big fan of Tina. Last year she was being coached by Alina Popa, but she's moved on to another coach. I mean, she has a great physique, especially for a woman her height. If she can make the adjustments, like I said, but this show's a tough show. We hope to see her do another show, maybe this year. I mean, it's all depending, But like I said, I'm a big fan of Tina. I think she does pretty well. Now, here's a blank space we have for the Miss International winner. We don't know who's that going to be. You remember I saw my interview the other last week I did with Hannah Hussein. Hannah is supposed to be doing that show, Miss International. Maybe she might fill this spot here, or whoever's going to compete. All you got to do is win the overall show, and you earn your qualification for the Rising Phoenix. But as you know, the last couple of years we hadn't had no winners to compete at the Rising Phoenix. I mean, the last two ladies they dropped out for some reasons. I remember 2021 had a lady representing the Miss International, and then 2022, the last person that competed as the Miss International winner in 2020 was Patty Hansen, and we hadn't seen Patty since 2021 when she competed at Chicago Pro. And she wasn't in her best condition that show. She almost nearly like she died on stage. But we hope Patty's all right. Maybe we might see her compete this year. It's just up to these competitors where they want to go. But like I said, we hope we get to see a new female bodybuilder, and we're representing the Miss International title. Now, one person that competed this show most definitely is the two-time Rising Phoenix champion, Hella Trevino. Last year she compete because the fact was she had an injury with her shoulder, and we weren't sure she should compete for the Olympia last year either. But she did come up and she got third, and which qualified for this year's Olympia. I think there's talk that Hella's focusing on Olympia solely, and this might be talk that this might be her last year competing. As you know, a while back, Hella moved from California to Dubai. Big fan of Hella Trevino. I think she's an amazing lady, and and I would say she's one of the few women who is the last of the true female bodybuilders. Remember, she was the original Olympia when they said women's bodybuilding back in the early 2000s. And after that, she took some hiatus because of her injury. But, Hella, I hope she does well this show. Whenever she can come back, we will see an Olympia, and wish her all the best. Next up is her dear friend, the big sweet herself, Irene Anderson. And I got the pleasure to meet Irene at Savannah last year. Irene, she's also what I call a usual suspect. She's been competing at the Rise Venus for the past 3 or 4 years. I'm surprised she's not competing this show. Last year, she got an invite to Olympia because she was doing pretty on the point system, but then she came up short, and she got a special invite to the 2022 Olympia. I guess she might do a show, or she might just take some time off. I'm surprised she's not competing this show. But like I said, it's up to Hella what she want to do. She might try to do a show in the States, or like I said, there's at least 2 shows that's qualification for the Olympia. That's the Portugal Pro and Europa Championship. Or she might just do the remaining Muscle Fest and qualify for next year's Olympia. Another lady who's, I would say, also usual suspect is Mona Persolate. Now, Mona has won Best Poser at least the last 2 or 3 years at the Rising Phoenix. And I'm surprised. What I heard from information, she didn't apply. I said, wow, she didn't apply? So the big question is, she's going to do a show this year? Last year she qualified for the Olympia by points. She's got in by the skin of her teeth because, it was one person that was named with that speak. She got in, she was like, took the lead, and I was wondering, was she going to try to do another show? I saw her compete. I saw her do a guest posing with Andrea at the Savannah Pro, and she looked pretty good. I feel like she should do Savannah, and she probably would have beat Ashley Hadley for the title. But, we're wondering, she moved to Texas a while back. I think the last time I saw her, she was at the Vancouver Island Pro. Hell, she might be thinking about competing at the Toronto Pro. Even though she don't live in Canada anymore, she still can go back there and do that show. But it's up to her. She might even try to go back to Tampa, where she earned her first qualification back in 2021. But, it's just up in the air with Mona. We hope we see her this year. Here we have another lady who is not on the list, who's also what I call usual suspect. Another good poser, and that is Janine Lakowski. I saw a while back Janine had an injury. Maybe the injury, even though it's been a while, she may not have fully healed. She might need more time. A while back she had some surgery on her, I think it was a left tricep, and then she bounced back and she's pretty good for herself. I used to get in contact with Janine. She hadn't said or anything that if she's going to compete this year or not. Maybe she might just take a break, but maybe she deserves it. She needs it. It's time to take some time off. And she works with Nancy Lewis to do animal health and recovery farm where they help out animals, and she coaches, trains other people in posing. I would call her one of you suspects. Is not going to be at this show, so well, whatever she does, we wish her best of luck for Janine. And also one lady who I say who deserves to get invited, and that is one Mrs. Michelle Britt. She deserves to get invited. She most definitely do, because you know what? She is truthfully, other than Hella, she is the last true female bodybuilder. There's not just be women who are in the sport who didn't start out in one division and to another. She started a good part of the 80s, took some time off, had a kid, came back, kept competing, and finally got a pro card. And then she was busy last year. At one point, I thought she was going to retire. And then she says did one more show after that. And then she's invited to the Master Show coming up in August, along with Virginia Sanchez and Rashana Boswell and several other ladies who are competing this year. Last year I think she should have got invited to the Rising Phoenix, and she should get invited this year, being how long she is. This woman is going to be 66 years old this year. 66 is still competing. You got to admire her passion for sport. She's a businesswoman. Her and her husband, they have their line of jewelry. She does other stuff. She deserves to be at this show. Most definitely. She earned that right, being that she is, I said again, the last of the true female bodybuilders. It's just, I don't know what's going on. Jake, come on. Come on, Jake. Hey, Jake, Come on, you got to invite her. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. A special invitation. You can give a special invitation, or hell, if I know she's doing the Master Olympia, give a special invitation to the other Olympia, the main Olympia. It's your show, Jake. Jake, hey Jake, I want that money. I want that gun. I'm sorry, I can't help it, but yeah, just me being me. And anyway, one lady who I thought maybe deserved to get invited too is Lavinia Rodriguez. Now, Lavinia, she did pretty good. Her first pro show, that was in Brazil, as you know, the kid that wins bodybuilding in that show. And then turned around, I think she was 15 at the Olympia. As you know, I saw recently she's got a breast implant. She's a great physique. She's still young, just in her mid-20s. And maybe she should have took more time working conditioning. That's where I feel like she could have worked out. Get a boob job. Understand, some women get it because it makes it more aesthetically pleasing, but it doesn't really guarantee you a win. I think she has a lot of potential. I think she needs to work on, if you just work on condition a little better, also she, maybe a little size, she might do pretty good. I think she's the future of women's bodybuilding. But I think she does, if you're going to invite, some competitors that I feel don't deserve to get invited, you should at least invite her. I mean, especially somebody who has promise and potential she has. But like I said, I'm not the guy who runs the Rise of Phoenix. I'm not Jake Wood. He makes the decision. So it's just me being a fan and just being honest. So we all know, without a doubt, unless she comes in really off, I don't see anybody beating Andrea. Andrea. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a big fan of Andrea Shaw. I think she is going to be a tough nut to crack. She's, ever since she competed, she first competed back in 2019. I think she was in the top 10 at the 2019 show, then comes up from being like in the top 10 to win the show in 2020. And then earning her qualification for the Olympia that same year. She won the Omaha Pro, which earned her qualification, then wins the Rise of Phoenix, and then wins the Olympia. Andrea is just, it's going to be tough to beat her. Unless she's really, really off. I don't see anybody beating her. I mean, even just a slight off, she's still going to be dominant. But like I said, this is going to be her fourth title. I'm going to be honest with you. And she's going to get another car, truck. I know some people say maybe, I feel like this. Honestly, it's like this. If the money was better for the Miss Olympia, I don't think she would do the Rise of Phoenix. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. I think she would just basically just do Olympia. But like I said, Jake, you're the one that's your show. You run it. I mean, there could be the money where, hey, you can cut a few dollars out of Mr. Olympia. Come on, the guy gets already $400,000. What's the extra $50,000 out of his check? Or $100,000 of his check and give it towards it and split it between the other divisions? It's really fair to me. I mean, look at Arnold. He knocked up the price on his, Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic for men's bodybuilding after he kicked that figure, men's bodybuilding, physique, and men's 212. But like I said, it's going to be tough to beat Andrea. I think this is her title to win or to lose. So if anybody can beat her, I wish you the best of luck. So anyway, the show is going to be in Arizona. As you know, that's where Win Strength's main office is on. I think it's going to be the resort in, I think what is the place name? Let me say it's going to be held at the beautiful Arizona Grand Resort. It's going to be the 30th of September. As you know, now that they pushed it, it used to be, I think, I'm trying to remember, I think it used to be like about, last couple of years used to be in September, but then last year was in October, now it's in September again. As you know, the Olympia is going to be in November, actually the first week of November, the end of October. So, and if, like I said again, Andrea is tough enough to beat. She's going to be, truthfully, I would say it's going to be the fourth title for her. Also, part of that show is the Arizona Pro. They haven't put the list out yet. That's usually come out later. And also there's the IFB Arizona Women's, Arizona Extravaganza. This is all, the Rising Phoenix is a totally ladies-only show. There had to be a ladies-only show since the Jantana. And Rising Phoenix kind of took that place. And, it's no banana hammocks, no board shorts, all ladies. I know one point they say it was hard to get sponsors because most sponsors don't want a sponsor show where there's no men. I think especially with, like, if you have the Arizona Pro, we have bikini. If you want to probably put money behind it. But like I said, guys are always going to bring the big money because they get more attention. But I'm a big fan of the show. I watched it last year on pay-per-view. I might watch it this year on pay-per-view. Yeah, I'm going to support the show because it is, like I said, it's a great opportunity for these ladies to have their own stage, not have to share with the men. And, I wish the best luck to all the competitors. Like I said, again, Andrea is going to be dominant. I think, there's no one's going to really beat her. If, like I said, again, if she has to really come off, really, really off for her to lose. And even somebody come in the best condition may not even beat her on an off day. So anyway, the show is going to be September 30th. I believe that's going to be that Saturday. Check it out. Buy the pay-per-view. If you can afford to, go to Arizona and watch the show. I wish I could, afford to do that, but I live on Amiga wages, and I don't know if I'm ready to fly yet, but I would love to be there, and especially support people like Tina Williams, Andrea Shaw, Sheena Oleg, people who have follow, so we have met. I just wish y'all the best of luck. So, like I said, support the show. Watch the pay-per-view, and if you can, if you have the means of way to go there to see the show in person, go live. Because like I said, if you get enough bodies there, that shows support, and it really helps on the money-wise. So anyway, support the show, support these ladies, and all the best luck to all the competitors. Anyway, this is man always George Page, a.k.a. the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out.